Welcome back, detectives. I am your host, and you are watching Data Detectives, the channel where we unravel complex data mysteries and reveal the power of analytics. In today's video, we have an exciting case that combines the forces of SQL and Power BI to solve a captivating HR analytics project. Our client, a leading multinational corporation, has been experiencing some puzzling trends in their employee turnover rates. They suspect that there may be hidden factors causing valuable employees to leave. As data detectives, it's our job to dig deep into their HR data and uncover the truth. Now, let's jump straight into the case. We will be starting by exploring the HR dataset, which contains information about each employee, such as age, gender, job role, department, salary, performance, ratings, and more. Using SQL, a powerful language for managing and querying databases, we will unleash the power of the structured queries to extract relevant insights. We will write SQL queries to investigate the factors that may contribute to employee turnover, such as job satisfaction, years of experience, and salary discrepancies. Once we have gathered valuable insights from our SQL queries, we will bring the data to life using Power BI, a robust data visualization tool, and we will create interactive dashboards and visually explore the relationships between various HR metrics. This will help us identify patterns, correlations, and potential red flags. As we dive deeper, we will encourage you, our viewers, to put on your detective hats and participate in solving the mysteries we encounter along the way. We will present you with thought-provoking questions and challenges at different stages of our investigations. But don't worry, if you can't crack the case on your own, we will provide detailed explanations and answers side by side and guiding you through the process and helping you sharpen your analytical skills. Remember, becoming a great data detective takes practice and persistence. Together, we will unravel the secrets hidden within the data and gain a deeper understanding of HR analytics. So grab your magnifying glass and join us on this exciting journey of data exploration and analysis. Hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and get ready to become a data detective. So we'll be first starting by creating a database with the help of create database, and let's give a name to our database, which will be projects/HR. Okay, so let's run this query. So with this, we have created our database. Now we are going to import. Let's refresh it, and now we are going to import our data in the table column using table data import wizard. Okay, let's paste a file path, and this will be our file path. Let's give it a name of HR. From the data, we can see that all the columns are of text data type, so this is not required for us, but we will going to change it during our coding of queries. Okay, so first of all, let's import the data. So after creating the database and importing the files, now we are going to use this table. Okay, so for using it, first of all, we will use projects underscore HR. Okay, and we will run it. Now we will select first of all the columns from our HR table. Okay, select statement will extract all the columns from HR table. So we can see that these are the columns. First of all, first column is employee ID, but the name is something else, so we are going to change it. Then there is the first name, last name, birth date, gender, race, department, job title, location, hire date. This is term date, which stands for termination date. Then it's location city and location state. Okay, so first of all, we are going to do data cleaning and pre-processing. Okay, data cleaning and pre-processing. So first of all, we are going to change the name of this employee ID. So let's start with table. Alter table will help to change and update in existing columns. So we are going to change column. Let's copy this name so as to get it right, and we will change it to new name, which is employee ID, and let's the data type let be varchar. Okay, and null. So if we run this query, after running this query, we can check the change in our HR table by looking into describe. So we can see we have changed the employee ID field name and the data type also to varchar. Okay, so next let's once again see the complete table and what more corrections are needed in the table. So if we see for the birth date, we can see that there are two types of format that are available in the birth date. First of all, one is with the hyphens and one is with the slashes. So we have to rectify it. Similarly, if we see the hire date also, there are two types of format available, and for term date there is a complete format with the time. Okay, see, this is year, month and date with the time also. So we are going to clean it and make in a format consistent of having year, month and date. So first of all, we are going to update our HR table and let set birth date is equals to, we are going to make cases. So we will use case statement. So when birth date is like %/%, if this is in this format, the birth date is in this format, then what we are going to do, first of all, we will convert our text to date. Okay, so we will use string to date, and this is the birth date, and what is the actual format available for us, that is percent month %/ampersand date /ampersand year. Okay, this is the actual string that is available to us. Now we are going to convert in a date format by using the date format command, and we will convert it in %year hyphen %month hyphen %day. Okay, this will be date. Next case will be, what will be the next case? Where there are hyphens, we have to convert it. So let copy it and paste it, and we will convert the slashes to hyphens. Okay, so this will be converted, and for rest of all the cases we will provide a null value. Okay, let's end this case statement and let's run it. So there is some error. Yes, so there is, what is the error? We are not able to update the columns. So first of all, we have to set SQL save updates equals to 0, so as to change the columns in the table. Okay, 0 rows are affected. Now if we run this query, we can see we are able to run it. So it is successful. Now let's see our complete table first. So here we can see that the birth date has been changed to our prescribed format, and if we see the data type, let's see the data type of our new birth date column. So it's still text, so we have to change the data type also. So let's change the data type by using alter table HR, and we will modify the column, which is our birth date column, to date data type. Okay, so we have converted our birth date column to date data type. If we want to recheck it, we can see it running describe command. Here we can see that our birth date has now date data type. Okay, so we have to make changes for hire date also. So let's write a command, change the data format and data type of the hire date column. Okay, so for changing the data type and date format, what we are going to do, we are going to use the same query, and we will here change the hire date in place of birth date. Okay, so let's change it to hire date. We are changing it to hire date. This will also be converted into hire date, and this is also will be converted into hire date. So when we will run this query, it's successful. Okay, and let's again change the data type of our column hire date. So let it be hire date. Okay, so if we run this again, we have changed the data type of our hire date column. Here we can see this on running the description. So here we can see that hire date has date data type now. Now what we are going to do is we are going to change the date format in the term date column. So change the date format and data type of term date column. Okay, so how we are going to change it? So first of all, let's write update HR, and let's set term date equals to, first of all, let's convert in string to date format. Okay, where term date is in the format of, we have already seen the term date is in the format of year, month and day. Then there are time also. So if we write year, then month, then date, space h, ampersand h is for hour, percent I is for minutes, s is for seconds, and then it will be UTC. Okay, so this is our term date. Let's convert into date. Okay, and we will apply this condition only for those rows where the term date column is not null, because for only those employees termination date is available and term date is not equals to empty space. Okay, so if we run this query, okay, it's successful. And what we are going to do next is to alter our table HR, and we will set the term date equals to null, where term date is equals to empty space. Okay, why we are doing that? So as to make all the columns null where term date is not available. Okay, so there is some error, so instead of alter, it will be update. And we have run this. Now we can see our column. Let's see our column. So okay, now term date, where term date was empty, it's filled with null value. And for non-empty value rows, there is a format which is year, month and date. Okay, now what we are going to do is we will create an age column. So let's create an age column. So how we are going to create it is, first we will alter table HR, and we will add a column will be, and we will give the name age, and its data type will be int. Okay, so we have created a column with age name, and now let's update its value. Update HR, set age equals to, what will be the age? It will be the difference between the birth date and the current date. So we will use the timestamp difference function, and we will enter year and birth date and current date function. Okay, this will give us the current date. And let's update our age column is running. Okay, now update column has been created. If we want to see it, we can run again this statement, select star from HR, and we have created an age column with the ages available with us. Okay, if we want to see the minimum and maximum in the ages column, so we will use the min function of age and max function on age from HR table, and this will give us the minimum and maximum. So the minimum age is 20 years and maximum age is 57 years of the employees. Okay, so now we are going to start with our challenges. So the first question is, what is the gender breakdown of employees in the company? Okay, what is the gender breakdown of employees in the company? For the purpose of this question, we are going to use the group by statement. So before that, let's see our complete table by selecting select staff from HR. And here we can see that the gender breakdown is available in the gender column. So we are going to use it. So let's select the gender, then we will count all the rows for each gender, and we will save it as count from HR table, and we will going to group it by gender column. So this query will give us the bifurcation or the breakdown in the gender column. Here we can see that the male are approximately 11,000, the females are approximately 10,000, and non-conforming are 605. Okay, next question. So what is our next question? What is the race breakdown of employees in the company? Okay, so now you are going to try it. We have to use the same formula as we have used in the previous question, but we have to use race instead of the gender column. Okay, so you can pause the video and later you can see the solution. So we are going to use the select statement, we are going to use the select statement and select race and count all the rows as count from HR, where now we are going to use a condition where term date is null. So why we are using this condition to filter out the rows? Because we want the race breakdown of the current employees, but in the table we have all the employees who are terminated as well as the current employees. So we have to understand the race breakdown for only the current employees. That's why we are putting a condition which is where term date is null. So this will give us only the employees which are current employees. So if we run this query, we will get the counts for each race category and the number of employees for each race category. So let's export this table for our further use uh, in Power BI visualization dashboard. So let's save it by race. Okay, so similar thing we should use in our previous question also, because we here also want only the current employees. Okay, so let's use the same condition where term date is null. So these, so this condition will give us the males, females and the non-conforming employees which are the current ones. Okay, so from this we can conclude that we have to use this statement when we are solving the question for the current employees, and we have to remove it or modify it for the questions in which we have to find some data related to terminated employees. Okay, so let's attempt the next question. So we have to find what is the age distribution of employees in the company. Okay, so we have to find the age distribution. So for this purpose we have to make some categories. So we can define the categories from 18 to 24, from 25 to 34, from 35 to 44, and 45 to 54, 55 to 64, and then last will be 65 plus. So we have to make the category and we have to count the number of employees for each category. So first of all you can attempt this question, then you can see the solution also. So let's start by selecting the rows and we will prepare a case statement. Okay, so here we will prepare a case statement. So when age is greater than 18, greater than equals to 18, and age is less than equals to 24, age is less than equals to 24, then the age category will be 18 to 24. Okay, but when age is greater than equals to 25 and age is less than equals to 34, then our age category will be 25 to 34. Okay, now we are going to copy this statement only. We will change 25 to 35 and 34 to 44 for our age category. 35 to 44, we will again copy paste this condition. We will change it to 45 and 54, 45 and 54, and let's again change it to 55 and 64, where it will be 55 and 64, and last will be 65 plus. Okay, we have created the age categories and we will end this condition, and we will save it as age group. And now we are going to count for each row, and we will save it as count. Okay, we are going to take it from HR table, and again we are going to introduce condition where term date is null, and now we are going to group it by age group, and let's order it by age group so as to get in the ascending order. Default is ascending order. So if we run this query, we can see the age count between 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, and 55 to 64. So this is our age category bifurcation. Okay, let's again save it by age. Okay, now let's see the next question. What is our next question? How many employees work at headquarters versus remote? So how many employees work at headquarter versus remote? Okay, for this purpose we are going to group by our data using locations column. Okay, from the location column we can see that some employees are in headquarters and some are in remote. So you can try to solve it, then see the solution. So let's select the location column and count it by count star. Okay, and we will save it as count from HR where term date is null, and we are going to group it by location column. Okay, so if we run this query, we can see that the bifurcation is headquarters have 13,000 employees approximately, and remote there are 4,500 employees. Now let's save it with location. Now our next question is, what is the average length of employment who have been terminated? So what is the average length of employment who have been terminated? So for the purpose what we are going to do is, we have to calculate the average amount of employment, average length of employment for the terminated employees. So for this purpose what we are going to see is, first of all let's select. Okay, and first of all let's see the length of employment for each employee, okay, who have been terminated. So what we are going to do is, we take the year part of term date, okay, and subtract it by year part of hire date. This will give us the length of employment, okay, and from HR now we are going to change our condition. So for where term date is not null, okay, for term date which is not null, so this will give our terminated employees, and we want the terminated employees before the current date. So we will use another condition, which is term date should be less than equals to our current date. Okay, so let's run this query, and we can see that the length of employment for all the terminated employees till date, but we have to count, see the average. So we will use the average function. Okay, and let's round it by, let's round it so that we can get a whole number, and let's run it. So we can see that the average length of employment of all the terminated employees, it is 8 years. Okay, so let's see the next question, which is how does the gender distribution vary across department and job titles? Okay, so how does the gender distribution vary across department and job titles? Okay, so first of all, let's see our table again. So select star from HR. On running this, we can see this is the department and this is our job title, and we have to see the gender distribution. So how we are going to do this? Let's select the department column, and then the job title column, and see the gender, and let's count the number of employees from HR, and we have to see for current employees. So where we will put the condition that where term date is not null, and we are going to group it by department, department, then job title. Okay, and then gender. Okay, and let's order it by the same format. So let's see the result. Okay, so it's count star. Let's change it to count. Let's change the name of the count column. So if we again run this, we can see that accounting is the department where there are number of accounting job titles like accountant 1, accountant 2, and we can see that there are 4 females, and then there are 7 males, and there are 3 non-conforming. So we have seen the bifurcated distribution among the departments and job titles. Okay, if we want to see only for department, we can remove the job title from here, also from here, and then also from here. Now this will give the bifurcation across the departments. So this is a gender bifurcation across the departments. Okay, we can save this table with gender distribution. Okay, now let's see our next question, which is 7th question. And what is the 7th question? We have to see what is the distribution of job titles across the company. Okay, so this is a simple one. We have to just select the job title column, and we will group it by the job title, and let's save it as count from HR table where term date is null, and we will group it by job title. Okay, when we run it, we can see the distribution of job titles among the employees. Okay, now next question will be, which department has the highest termination rate, or we can say the highest turnover rate. So which department has the higher turnover, or we can change the name to termination rate. Okay, so for this purpose, let's again see our complete table. So we have to find which department, so we have to group it by department first, then we have to calculate the termination rate. Okay, so for the termination rate we need the count. So let's select the department and let's take the count as this will be our total count. Okay, and let's count for the terminated ones. Okay, so we will use the case when term date is not null and term date is less than equals to the current date. This will give us all the terminated employees. Then we will count it as 1 and we will end our condition. So we will save this column with terminated count. Okay, and how we are going to calculate the termination rate? By dividing the terminated count and the total count. Okay, but we have to use this whole statement by and dividing it with count star. Okay, so this will give us the termination rate in decimals. We have to convert in percentage, so let's multiply it by 100. Okay, and let's round it by 2 decimal places. So we have rounded it by 2 decimal places, and this will be our termination rate. We will round it by 2 decimal places and we will name it with termination rate, and we will take this from HR table and we will group it by department and we will order it by termination rate, as we want the highest termination rate to be on the top, and we will order in the descending order. So if we run this query, so we can see the termination rate is 15.38, which is maximum for the auditing. Now our ninth question is, what is the distribution of employees across location state? Okay, so what is the distribution of employees across location state? Okay, so what we are going to do in this, we will group by all the table by location state column. Okay, if we want to see the complete table, let's see the complete table first. So here we can see that we have the location state available with us, so we will group by our data by location state. So let's select the location state and let's count the number of rows from HR where term date, this is a regular condition where term date is null, and now we are going to group it by location state. Okay, so if we group it by location state, we can see this the distribution of employees, of the current employees, by location. Okay, if we want to see the by location city, we can copy this code and run this query for location city. There is no much difference between the two queries. So let's count for location city. So this is the count for location city. Now the 10th question is, how has the company's employees count change over time based on hire and term dates? Now we have to see the change in the number of employees over time based on hire dates and termination dates. So let's write the question. How has the company's employee count changed over time based on hire and termination date? Okay, so for this question we will use the subquery, so you can pause the video and try it yourself. So to try to calculate the company's employee count change over time based on hire and termination date. Okay, so let's start creating our query. So let's select star from HR, and with this we will can see a complete table. So to us further understand better, okay, so let's start creating. First of all, we will take a year column. Next, let's create a hires column. Next, let's create a terminations column. After the terminations column, we will create a net change column, which will be hires minus terminations. Okay, so this will give us the net change. And how will we calculate the change percentage? By calculating the division between terminations versus hires and taking its percentage. Okay, so terminations divided by hires will give us change percent. Okay, so this is our main query. Now we will create a subquery. How we are going to create a subquery? Let's select year of hire date as our year column that we have defined in our main query, and let's count the number of employees as the hires. Okay, now let's count the terminated employees. We have already created this. So using the case when term date is not null and term date is less than equals to current date, then it will be 1, and this will end our case statement, and we will save it as terminations. Okay, so this is our terminations, and this will be extracted from HR table, and we will group by the year of hire date. Okay, let's close this and let's save the name subquery. Okay, so this subquery will be utilized for the main query, and let's group the main query by year, and let's order also in the ascending order of the year. Okay, if we run this query, so here we can see that For the year 2000, there are 220 hires and 31 terminations, which gives us 189 as a net change, and then they give us the change percentage of 14.09%. So for 2001, we have for 6, 7, 8, 10, we have the hires and terminations for each and every year. Okay, let's export it and save it in employee count change. Okay, we have saved this. Now the next question is, this will be our last question for the data analysis part. What is the tenure distribution in each department? So what is the tenure distribution for each department? Okay, so let's do it. We will select the department as we want to group it by department. Now what we are going to do, we will calculate the difference between the dates, okay, of what, of term date and hire date, okay, and divided by 365. Here we are using the different method. In previous questions we have used the difference between the higher part year part of term date and year part of hire date, and then subtracted it. But now we are calculating the difference between the term date and hire date and dividing it by 365. This will again give us the year, but we have to calculate the average. So we'll take the average and let's round it for 0 decimal places, as we want a whole number in our year, and let's save it as average tenure. Okay, and we will take this from HR. Now our where statement will be term date is not null, as we have to calculate the tenure distribution for terminated employees only. Okay, so first condition is term date is non-null, and for term date whose termination date is less than the current date. Okay, and we will group it by department. This is our department. Okay, now let's run this query, and we can see that engineering department has 8 years or average tenure of terminated employees. For services it is also 8 years. For human resources it's 7 years, and there is 6 years for product management. Okay, if we want to order it by the average tenure, we can do the same also by including the order by command. Okay, so this was our data analysis part in SQL. Now we are going to utilize these tables in Power BI to create the visualizations and dashboard, and then we will find some interpretations of these charts and tables, and we will finalize our findings for this project. Okay, thank you.